Warning, this video contains content that some viewers might find disturbing.
It's 2023 and you asked for it. Nicolas Cage is Dracula. That's right, along with witches and werewolves, the popularity of these iconic figures from European folklore shows no signs of waning. They continue to captivate the imagination of people around the world and inspire countless books, movies, and television shows. Whether it's the allure of the seductive Twilight vampires, the mysticism of the craft, or the primal appeal of the fierce underworld lichens, these supernatural creatures continue to fascinate and entertain audiences of all ages. From classic tales like Teen Wolf and Charmed to modern series like Teen Wolf and Charmed? Their enduring popularity is a testament to their timeless appeal. But I'm not here to talk about how I'm Team Edward in books, Team Jacob in the movies, and Team Mike Dexter in my heart.
Someone in there called me.
Let's talk about how the Philippines has their own versions of blood-sucking, spell-casting shapeshifters. And they're not as, let's say, romantic. The most common and well-known MUMU throughout the Motherland. The Aswang. Aswang is derived from the Sanskrit word asura, which means demon. Right now, if you ask 10 Filipinos to explain what an aswang is, you'll probably get 10 different explanations. Aswang is an umbrella term, kind of like the boogeyman. In the Philippines, vampires, witches, and werewolves all belong to the same family. But aswang aren't just one specific type of momo, or even 3. These creepy creatures can be broken down into 5 subcategories. And by the end of this video, I'm going to introduce you to each of them, beginning with
Number 1. Vampires.
In Europe, vampires are revenants, dead people who periodically return from the grave and sustain themselves by drinking the blood of the living. Think Count Dracula, prototypical vampire from the 1897 novel by Bram Stoker. Tactically, he would embrace his victims and bite into their necks, severing their jugular veins, thus transferring his abilities and converting more Nightwalkers. He, or should I say she, does it a little differently in the Philippines.
Philippine vampires are typically females, who appear as attractive maidens by day and fly out at night to hunt for prey, and that rhymes, gorging themselves with fresh human blood, filling their bellies to the point of looking 8 months pregnant before returning home by daybreak, when they would resume their human disguise. There are also reports of them marrying men so as to be in strategic position to suck their blood while they sleep.
In Filipino folklore, there's an old tale called The Girl with Many Loves. 16-year-old Kalibo marries a husky, overweight young man, but strangely, over the course of a honeymoon, his body wastes away, and he dies. The young widow marries again, this time to a stronger, healthier young man. He too passes away, and the same fate befell her third husband. By the 4th proposal, the village had become suspicious of this peculiar pattern and forewarned her 4th fiancé so as to prepare him for the night of his wedding. Their advice? Don't go to bed empty-handed.
He lay awake a long time after the lamp was out, and when he heard her soft, even breathing, he almost abandoned himself to sleep. In the hour between midnight and cockcrow, when darkness is heaviest, he felt an oppressive presence hovering over him, and a sudden prick at the base of his throat. With a loud cry, he plunged a sharp, pointed knife into the bulk that he felt above him. There was a screech of pain and a flapping of enormous wings.
Kalibo was proven to be an aswang the locals named Mandarugo. In their monstrous nightbird form, they're believed to sit on the villagers' roofs and let down their long thread-like tubular tongue with which they reach their sleeping victim below. They use their sharp, pointed tongues to prick the jugular vein of the victim and drain them of all their blood. To put that in context, the average adult contains about 1.5 gallons of blood. Science tells us the thirst is real. And if that wasn't enough nightmare fuel for you, don't worry. There are other types of aswang out there that have a more robust appetite.
Number 2. Visceral Suckers.
Fair-skinned, long-haired women, and in one case men, that appear as attractive people during the day, but at night they detach the lower portion of their body, hide it in a safe place, and fly out to hunt in their winged forms. Visceral Suckers are similar to vampires in their ability to fly out at night, but differentiate by, instead of blood, being more interested in consuming internal organs, entrails, guts. There's a tale that tells of a weary traveler who sought shelter in an old house under the shadow of large trees, not knowing that the residents flavored their stew with an unorthodox ingredient.
When I came to the door, I saw an old man reclining on a big basket. I asked him if I might spend the night, to which he responded, "You might." Hungry from my travels, I asked if I could have some supper. The old man grinned. He pointed to a large pot near the kitchen stove. I picked up a spoon and a coconut shell for a plate, and went over to help myself. At first I thought the vessel contained pork, but when I dipped my spoon into the stew, what emerged was not the flesh and bones of a pig. It was human. I dropped my coconut shell and spoon and made a hasty departure without saying a word. Some miles further down the road, I came upon another house. The residents were welcoming and allowed me to catch my breath. Upon hearing my story, they explained that the old man was simply a loving father, and that I should consider myself fortunate that his two Aswang daughters were not at home.
Visceral suckers are also known to feed on newly born children, which they carry off, feeding only on the liver and heart. The rarest and definitely the most badass form of this Aswang is called the Manananggal. This winged woman's upper torso is the featured villain in book 1 of my series, but we'll save her for another video. And before we continue with this video, if you have time, please visit the MUMU merch store to check out all the fun merch options we have available.
Like our new Prisoners of Tao Tao shirt based off the upcoming 3rd installment of the MUMU series. Links in the description.
Back to the show.
Number 3. Witches.
Quick, what were you doing last night between the hours of moonrise and moonset? If you were a woman during the 1500s, your answer better have been fast the asleep. Otherwise, church officials might have you burned at the stake. That time of night was termed the witching hour. Today we use it to describe any period of increased activity. For investors, that's the last hour of trading on the stock market. For parents, time of day when babies lose their shit. For witches in the Philippines, on the other hand, Philippine witches are said to be reclusive, ordinary-appearing women who inflict ailments and death on people by supernatural means. Blood-sucking and eating guts is cool and all, but have you ever killed someone with magic? They say that witches have the power to kill those whom they want just by saying it. In the case of the Mangkukulam, she could kill any person she disliked merely by looking at them.
The Mangkukulam is a woman possessing the virtue of causing sickness unto death of a person with whom he or she is displeased, and this belief is so widespread, when it is rumored that a person is a Mangkukulam, very few will approach them, and those who do so do everything in their power to pleasure her.
Intense migraines, body aches, boils, internal tumors. Before advances in medical science and technology, a lot of these ailments couldn't be explained. They were simply attributed to mean girls.
Sus Mariosep.
Sure, the church would tell you to pray away the demons, but what if the demon is a doll?
Every Mangkukulam has her abubat, a basket with a lead woven from rattan. When the Mangkukulam plans to do any harm to a person, she goes to the quarter of the house where she has always kept her abubat and takes out her doll and pin. Then she sticks the latter in whatever body part of the doll she wishes. By that means, the person will be found stricken with some sort of sickness in the part of the body where the doll had been pricked.
Anti-Mangkukulam measures were quite numerous, indicating our degree of fear of these mythical beings. This fear created a new cottage industry that brought another level of charm.
The only hope for one who has come under the power of a witch is to secure the services of a witch doctor in possession of the necessary anting-anting. He gives his services for free, for if he charged a fee, the charm would not work.
Makes sense. Cure for a witch is a witch doctor, and anting-anting were their tools of the trade. A Filipino system of magic and sorcery that utilized special amulets or charms to combat evil spells cast by the occult. One researcher claims that Aswang witchcraft could only be passed on by heredity, and for only 7 generations. But like I said, the rise of Christianity and science would bring an end to this entire violent and misunderstood witching era, and we would never have to think about witches again. The witching hour is over. Ding dong, the witches. Hey, Charles here. Thanks for still watching. Which do you think is the scariest Aswang so far? Vampires? Visceral Suckers? Witches? Let me know in the comments. This video is running a little long, so I'm gonna have to cut it into 2 parts, so check that out for the final 2 Aswang. You can support our growing channel by picking something out at the MUMU merch store. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow me at Chaz Bellin. I'll see you in the next one, and remember to...